So here's an update where we're at with these Cerwin Vegas. I wasn't getting enough bass out of them, and not so much because of the speakers, but because of the building and all the wood that's behind here. I've got hardwood floors, I got drywall here, and then behind is 1x6s slats going across. The entire room is like that. So it takes an extreme amount of bass to shake the house. So I got some Klipsch subs. These are the SW16, pushing out 800 watts per channel. I just finally got my second one. The second one was busted. They sent me a replacement sub, and apparently that wasn't the issue. I guess the amp was gone on it, so it was a real bitch to change this thing out. They were really stuck in there. So there's the other box I gotta send back. So I just got my second one today. There's my other one over there. I switched all my speakers around. So these are the JBLs. I'll go through everything I've got here. These are the JBLs, or CF150s that I had shipped up here from Calgary. Ended up getting destroyed by the shippers, and so I had the cabinets rebuilt, which are rebuilt a hell of a lot better than what the originals were. So I still got to stick these on. CF150. I used to have a pair of these back in the day, powered by the famous Van Halen amp, the V800 here, which puts out 250 watts per side. Since then I searched high and low to get one of these. I finally got one last year, but now I've moved on to Crown 3500s. I've got 3 of them. One for each of the Cerwin Vegas and one for the JBLs. So the top one is pushing out 1,000 per side, and these here are pushing out, I think, 2,700 watts per side, or per channel. They're bridged. What else have we got? So in order to get the music going here, this is what I've had to do. So I'm using the Nvidia media box here, and in order to get the music to the stereo, because this is not a receiver, there's no Bluetooth or nothing, so I had to get one of these HDMI converters. So it goes out of the box into this, and then out of the RCA. One goes to the TV, of course, one out of the, and then the RCAs go to the preamp. Of course, when I want to use the big screen, I just unplug my HDMI here and plug it into the other one that goes to the big screen there. So out of here, actually, I'm going into this one because the wife likes to do karaoke. So this is this is kind of nice because I don't need a mixer. Of course, it's got the music button and the volume for the microphones. Came with 2 microphones. What else we got? So now from here we're going into the preamp, and from the preamp we're going to the receiver. This is Schiit preamp, and this Schiit Lokias equalizer, which works amazing. It puts this big thing to shame. That's garbage. This thing, you could do whatever you want. You want to turn it all full blast. There's no distortion. It's amazing sound. I love it. What else we got? We got to buy these things to get remote to the Klipsch subwoofers, which I'm going to get rid of because I keep hearing this. Well, I can hear it from here. I don't know if you can hear it on here, but you hear this constant tug, 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 like somebody's playing with the wire. So that's no good. So I just ordered 50-foot RCAs for them. What else we got? That's about it. Yeah, whole pile of wires. I've got the power cleaner here. And I don't have everything plugged into here because it just draws way too much power. If anything, this one here, which powers the JBLs, I don't know, for some reason, at high volumes, this will kick out. It'll just red light right out, and I have to turn right down. So I think it's not enough power. Not enough power powering the amps. These are actually from China, and they're actually 220s. So they give me an adapter to plug into the 110, which I don't know whether that really is working properly. So far so good. I've heard of people saying that it ran for about a year or whatever, and then they fried. Or that runs for an hour, gets hot and shuts off, and none of that's happened to me. I don't know whether it's actually pushing out the total power it's supposed to. I don't think it has a built-in converter from 220 to 110. I don't know. Not sure on that one. I couldn't find no information on that. But it's working. And she cranks. I've actually turned the gains down, way down actually, because it's just too loud. But I can turn it way up. I like to hear the bass, that's a problem. So I've got the subs going, they're full blast. There's not much you can do about that. They put out 800 watts per channel. The volume's full blast on them. And unless I've got it at high volume again, I barely hear any bass. But it does shake the building, that's for sure. And I'm sure the neighbors feel it a hell of a lot more than I do. So, and of course I can turn it right full. Flickering. There's no shortage of volume for sure in here. I just got my new glass poster here. This is sick. If anybody remembers the old Memorex. This thing's awesome. So that's where we're at. We're pushing close to what, 8,000 watts here? It's freaking awesome. This all started with my kid wanting this JBL thing. Actually, he wanted a smaller one, the battery operated one, party box. And I wasn't going to get the cheap one, of course. I got the better one. And I got him that for Christmas, and I couldn't believe the sound out of this thing. It was amazing. So I bought the bigger one, the Party Box 1000, and it's got the only difference is it has a big sub on the bottom of it. Otherwise, they're pretty loud. Like if I put this in the garage, it's got so much bass. But in here, again, because of the building, there's no bass. So even with the bigger one, I brought it up here one day, and there was no freaking bass. I was really pissed off. So I bit the bullet and I went and bought these guys. And from there on I had to buy an amp. Actually no, I bought the first I bought the Cerwin Vega the V252, which is the commercial 215s. It's a two-way speaker, and they were pretty good. I bought a Crown 1500 amp, or was it a 2500? The Crown 2500 amp I bought, which was 700 watts per channel at 4 ohms, and it was freaking loud. It worked pretty good, but it was just not that pounding bass I was looking for. So after going through all that, I said screw it. I went and bought these things figuring, oh yeah, these are amazing, there's going to be tons of bass, and of course there wasn't. Actually, I think the commercial, the V252 sounded better, tighter bass, more of a thump. So we've moved on to, I've tried a few other amps. I tried a Chinese amp, which was 1400 watts per channel. And again, they didn't really put out the bottom end. And so then I moved on to the XLI-3500, which was pretty amazing. And then along the way, then these JBLs came along, and I wanted to get an amp for them. And of course, I wanted to buy the same amp I used to have, which was that one. So it took me a while to find one of those. Of course, I got it here, and I rebuilt it, put in new fans in it, and cleaned it all up. And again, still just wasn't enough for me. So then I decided to get 2 crowns to power these guys. My original plan was to get the 2 crowns to power just the bottoms, and use the other one to power the tops. I figured turn the gains down on the tops so I could have the bottoms full blast. But I turned around and ended up just using that to power the JBLs over there. And now that I got the Klipsch, I'm actually pretty happy. Still not enough bass really for this building. If I sit here and I turn these speakers towards me here, and I just crank it, and it's freaking awesome. You don't need any more than that. But as far as filling the room with bass, it just doesn't do it. That's for me. I like lots of bass. I like to feel it. I like to feel my chest pounding, you know, to the point you think your heart's going to stop. But this pretty much does it. I can't play good music because I'll get tagged on YouTube here, but this is just free copyright garbage music. I can feel that. It shakes the house. But I'm sure the neighbors feel it a lot more. I know my neighbor across the street complains, the bass. It's a funny guy. And he's over there. So, like I say, I'm pretty sure the whole neighborhood feels it more than I do. These are old homes. This thing was built in 1912. So, like in the old barns, they didn't have drywall back then. This is all strapped with 1x6s, all over the ceiling, the walls, just all 1x6s. And then over the years, then they drywalled over top of it. So that's why it's so freaking solid, and there's no give. Very hard to get this place to vibrate. But she does in this corner here with these subs here for sure. You feel the whole house like a wave. It's pretty cool. I tried them over here with those JBLs. I had them over here, and you couldn't even tell those subs were there. It made no difference. I was so upset. So after I've moved them around, now you can feel them. But I don't know, in this area here, no bass. Like even with these big monsters here, with all the power going through them, you can stand right in front of it and you don't feel any bass. It's ridiculous. But I know if I was to put them in another home or even in my garage, it would put out way more bass. I know this little guy, I put it in the garage. There's too much bass, and I don't. You got a bass boost, and that's about it. There's no control over the bass. Actually, there is there. I don't know if that works, but I know there's tons of bass. It sounds amazing in the garage. So I can just imagine what these would sound like at, 10 times the power. But I think that's about it for this stereo. Other than what I think I might do next is get into some albums, get a record player, and play some music the way it should be. But that's a whole other thing to get into. But I don't really have anything more I can do to this stereo, I don't think. Maybe you guys got some ideas. These Klipsch subs, I don't know. I was going to go SVS, and maybe I should have. SVS puts out what, 1600 watts per channel or more? I can't remember. But yeah, they said these things are just monsters and crazy house shakers, but yeah, I don't think so. I think, and they said it's a 16-inch sub, but it kind of looks to me like they're actually smaller than my 15s. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't think they're actually smaller than my 15s. So I don't know why they call them 16s. So maybe 16 around the edges here, but the speaker itself is not 16 because these are bigger. It's too bad that they don't put out more, but I'm telling you, they needed a lot of power, and they are taking a lot of power. Like I say, there's 2,700 watts per channel going into these monsters, and they're taking it no problem. Any less than that, and they were clipping. I can turn it right full blast. There's no clipping. It's super clear. Anything less than that, when I had the 2,500 watt amp, or the XLI-2500, which was what is that? It was 500 watts per channel, and it was clipping out. Well, I had my receiver at the end, and before I had a Onkyo receiver, and which was shit, really. And so one of you guys mentioned the Schiit preamp, so that's what I did. I bought that. It wasn't cheap, but I was pretty impressed. I bought a few different tubes to try. I don't know if I really noticed a difference myself, but I'm not gonna spend any more money on those things because it sounds pretty good as it is. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, if you're planning on buying a set of these speakers, I know a lot of you say, "Oh yeah, I'm pushing 150 watts and it's plenty." Maybe to you it's plenty, but the potential for your speakers are a hell of a lot more than what you think. I've tried everything. I've put tons of power. I started off with what was it? The XLI. I don't know if I had an XLI 1500, or did I go straight to the 2500? And I know at 4 ohms it was 700 watts per channel, so it was probably like 400 watts per channel or so. Maybe it was 500 watts per channel, and it wasn't enough. Like I say, that thing was clipping out at 3/4 throttle. Just when it was starting to pound, it would start clipping. And it was really upsetting, because here I am, they're finally starting to put out some bass, and they would clip out. So I had no choice but to go with a bigger amp and a bigger amp till I finally found these. So now, yeah, I can get it up there. When you get up to 3/4 throttle, that's when these things start to move and they really start to kick hard. And as you go up from there, you hit 80, 90. It's really pounding like you wouldn't believe. I know I don't feel it much in this home, but I know in your home you would feel it. So yeah, I'm sure the 150 watts, 200 watts probably sounds okay, but triple that, quadruple that, and you're gonna see what they can really do. Cerwin Vega didn't put out a lot of information on these things other than a simple sheet of 500 RMS. That's all they say. No input power, no peak power, no nothing. No minimal power, which they do with all the commercial stuff. They tell you that, like the V252 I had. It said it had a 1400 peak. It had nominal 700 watts input. So how do you go from this speaker, which is almost identical, at 3 times the money, taking recommended 150 watts. That didn't make any sense. So I don't think the guys at Cerwin Vega knew what they were talking about. Whoever designed these didn't put out the information. I don't know if they didn't bother doing any testing or anything, or too lazy to do a write-up on it. But yeah, they said maximum 150 watts, and I was at 500. I wasn't happy with it. We then went up to 1,000, which was a hell of a lot better. But I would say properly, you would have to put in at least 1,200 to 1,300 watts per channel, and these things would be happy, like really happy. You know, with no fear of blowing them, because if you're not putting enough power in them, you're gonna blow them. You're gonna turn it up one day, and, oh yeah, this sounds real cool. If you got a shitty stereo that's not telling you you're clipping, you're gonna blow your speakers. I've had these for what, 2 years now. I'm blowing nothing. I blew a tweeter one time, and these tweeters aren't the greatest, so I ended up upgrading them, and no issue since. And I'm telling you, when I crank this thing, I crank it as loud as I can go. And it's just borderline clipping, you know, at full throttle. And again, I've got, look at my settings on my EQ here. I got, that's full, that's 3/4 full. I got the highs turned down a little bit. And she hardly clips at full throttle. Right to 10. It's loud. It's freaking loud. Everybody comes here and just freaks. They can't get over how loud this goes. I've never heard a louder stereo, really, even at a concert. You know, sure, you'll get a lot more bass with the bigger stereos. But they're also running like how many freaking subs, you know? My buddy's bar got like 10, 18 or 21 inch subs underneath the sound stage. So there's tons of bass in there. But we're just in a little house here. Unfortunately, the way the house is built, I'm not feeling it. But if I know the power's here, it would shake the living hell out of any other house. And I'm telling you, when I'm sitting there sometimes when I got these subs going, I'm sitting here, I can feel the floor kind of dipping from the vibration. It's pretty neat. But yeah, if you want to get yourself a pretty cool stereo, I highly recommend the Schiit audio stuff. The Freya here, really nice, very clear, really neat. Comes with a little remote. Most these preamps like that don't come with remotes. This comes with a remote. It's pretty cool. It's actually magnetic too. What else? Yeah, that I highly recommend the Lokius equalizer here, because of course you got no tone controls on here. So it's kind of nice to have that. Crown, I don't know. For the money, I guess that's your best route. You can't do much better than that. You got all the power you need. And yeah, I think it's pushing more towards the highs than the lows. But it does the trick. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't buy these. I would buy just the plain, like I say, the V252 Cerwin Vegas, the commercial line speakers, which almost look identical to these, except the box instead of square, it's kind of on a V at the back here.